Introduction to At the Edge of Evergreens by Fred Carroll. Michael Evans has lost his trust in women. You can thank his ex-wife Samantha, who cheated and manipulated his finances before moving on with a co-worker's husband. A new job at Evergreen Edge may be just what he needs. Michael befriends an elder resident, Richard Sellers, who isn't exactly the man he believes him to be. Nonetheless, Dr. Seller guides him in trying to win the heart of his co-worker, Margot. This is a story of change, a story of finding love once again. It reveals how a rare friendship formed in the heart of the forest can help another find his forever. In the darkness beneath the trees, the brightest light still shines. If you believe, you can become. If you love deeply, it lasts beyond your final breath. Do you believe? Reading of At the Edge of Evergreens by Fred Carroll. Michael Evans' first day of work begins at 7 a.m. He pulled out of his driveway exactly 6:15, although he only lived 15 minutes away. Michael despised being late. In fact, he downright loathed it. The weather played a larger role in his early departure. An overcast March sky produced a sticky, wet morning snow that the weatherman called for rain just an hour ago. Just another failed forecast that New Englanders had learned to accept, but he couldn't be late. Michael's flaw was a low-level form of OCD disorder that the doctors had diagnosed when he was a child. They blindly prescribed medications throughout the years, yet none of the concoctions seemed to work. It didn't affect much according to Michael. He felt perfectly fine as the man he had become, although his ex-wife Samantha may disagree. Samantha, or Sammy as she preferred, was a difficult and beautiful woman. Anyone calling her Samantha would quickly be corrected, albeit rudely, before moving forward. He had heard her correct so many people that he could repeat the statement verbatim. "Excuse me, I prefer Sammy. It's the only name I recognize and the only one I acknowledge. Not your fault, but now you know. Please remember." Most people had a look of shock on their faces. Her delivery, which Michael had mentioned several times to no correction, was that of a common bitch, a snarky rendition of words with no intention to sugarcoat. She never changed the wording or the pattern, and yet it worked. No one ever forgot. Whether out of fear or a general courtesy, whoever heard her speech referred to her as Sammy. Michael used this knowledge as a weapon. Nothing ended an argument quicker than him using her first name against her. As if placing a strip of duct tape across her nagging lips, silence fell, followed by Sammy storming off and slamming a door. Michael always enjoyed the moment, a rare win in hindsight, considering their eventual outcome. They met in an online dating website and both instantly became attracted to each other. A first date became a second, and the second turned into marriage. His mother, Elizabeth, was not impressed. She detected something was wrong with the situation and wasn't one to beat around the bush. "Michael, a marriage? After only 3 weeks," she stated rather loud. "Who could say when it's the right timing?" he said. "She loves me, I love her." Elizabeth paused and considered her wording. She went with the blunt response. "No family, no job, no friends, 2 children, 2 fathers. Do the math, Michael." Elizabeth hit every negative with an authority, her hand smacking into her palm with every syllable. She wasn't angry, but was disappointed. She had spoken her piece and to her credit accepted Samantha into her life. Michael dismissed his mother's attack, as he often referred to it. Elizabeth knew he needed to experience the disappointments of love, and in the end allowed him to find out on his own, and he did. Samantha quickly revealed her true self. Although a beautiful and well-mannered woman in public, her aggressive demeanor behind closed doors shone through. She was a mere actress playing a role, a woman who's blamed others before blaming herself. Samantha's external beauty had gained her many gifts throughout her life, but her inner demons were tiresome on Michael and the numerous other men before him. A mentally abusive woman with a sexual promiscuity that lured men in. The act of a lady in public, but performed as a paid participant in the bedroom. "You can't make a housewife from a whore," his father often quoted. Michael spoke more respectful, but understood the point of the quote now that he had lived it. He initially adjusted to her different personas, but eventually all his friends saw the truth, and the tables quickly turned. She could no longer maintain her false etiquette, and like a snake shedding its skin, revealed herself in less than faithful. After short and amazing courting, a marriage, and a year of hateful bliss, they went their separate ways, partly due to her revealed personalities, but more to do with her infidelity. Michael just wasn't enough. She already had bedded another man well before the Connecticut court system cashed out her disbursement. Turned out that Samantha had been involved with a co-worker's husband, Kurt, long before Michael had caught them. It ruined the friendship between he and the co-worker, Molly, but more importantly, ruined his life. Kurt, a financial advisor, assisted Samantha into manipulating financial documents, several of them never even spoken about throughout the marriage, according to Michael. He lost everything he had worked for and lost the trust in women altogether. Samantha had burned every bridge repeatedly, separated him from friendships, and driven a wedge between him and his mother. Although Elizabeth never said, "I told you so," she didn't have to. He knew and admitted defeat. He had no choice but to sell his house to pay off debts and move back in with her. That was almost 7 years ago. His mother had since passed. Michael sunk into depression, lost his job, and spent the days maintaining his mother's garden and surviving off of what she left behind. He was a great neighbor, but had not pursued another relation since Samantha. An odd man by nature, Michael wanted to regain who he was. A new job after 2 years of unemployment just may be the way to begin a normal life.